Welcome folks, one and all, to something a little different from me. Let's play Crusader Kings 2, made by Paradox. Crusader Kings 2 is the sequel to Crusader Kings 1, and a general sequel to a large selection of in-depth strategy games released by Paradox. Crusader Kings 2 is my first exposure to any of those games, and I bought this a fair while ago, definitely last year or the year before, and I love it. I love this game, I love the strategy, I love the planning, and I love how just plain crazy it can get. The general premise of Crusader Kings 2, at least in the original game, is to take any ruler in Europe from any point between 1066 to the mid to late 15th century. General objective, the only true objective, is for your family dynasty that you control to survive the entire Middle Ages. And that is not necessarily an easy feat, what with all of the typical things like plague, and betrayal, and war, and plotting, and scheming, to the very silly things, like just plain dropping dead for no discernible reason. The Middle Ages were a harsh and brutal time, and a time that I actually love historically in terms of just how interesting history was back then, with wars and kings and all the politics of just the time. So I'm going to be playing this game from 1066. I have turned off the Sunset Invasion DLC because it's the one DLC I'm not a particular fan of, mainly because it's got Aztecs invading the Spanish Peninsula, and although I'm not going to be playing in the Spanish Peninsula, I think I could do without that. I also don't have the two most recent DLCs that let you play generally in the Far East, so just haven't got round to buying them yet. So, let's go single player. Now, it's going to be a little interesting because I'm going to be starting at Stamford Bridge, and I am going to be starting in the British Isles, which tends to be a start for me. I'm going to play as the person that I normally play as, but with a twist. I'm going to play in 1066. There is the Duke of Brittany here. No, I'm going to start as this man, technically. King Bledin of Gwynedd. He's the only duke in the potential Kingdom of Wales, and he has one vassal, and the other three people in his various kingdom are independent of each other and sort of vying for each other, but I'm not going to actually play as this man. I'm going to use the Ruler Designer DLC to create someone quite different. Now, we are going to keep him as Welsh, and we are going to change various parts of his appearance. The first thing we're going to change is his headgear. He's not going to be wearing anything on his head, save for his hair. Where is nothing? That looks like nothing, because his hair is going to be particularly interesting, and so is his beard. Where is a moustache? There we go. And I want pretty brown, light brownish hair. There we go. There's a reason why I'm going for a particular look. That will do. That's better. Right, we are going for... Oh dear, those eyes. We're going for a bit of a challenge character for me. This character is going to be difficult for me to play. Just designing this guy. His chin. That will do nicely. His neck. You could change his neck. That'll do. His cheeks. There's a lot of cheeks. Ears. You can barely see those. Eye colour. There you are. That will do fine. Clothes. You can actually have him wearing... Yes, you can just have him wearing armour all the time. But no. We'll have him wear this. Next. Now we're going to make our coat of arms. Let's see. We'll have it split into quarters. You've got to think carefully about these things. And by think carefully, I mean I have a general idea of what I want to make. But I just need to get around to actually finding the various parts. The game itself I will explain when I'm in. Right now we're just creating the dynasty and the starting character that will begin, or perhaps possibly be the death of it. When you see exactly what I'm making, you will probably get what I mean. There are a lot of pieces of... there's a heart there. Don't really feel like having that in my heraldry. Yeah, I'm going the wrong way here. But we're nearly all the way around. Back to the beginning. What I'm doing right now is creating the starting character. And with the starting character, I will then have a base on which to build the rest of the entire family. It will shunt aside the person who originally was meant to be ruling this territory, and he won't have any claim on the territory. That is such a weird... like... okay, that is so peculiar, I'm actually going to go with it. We'll have blue. Blue and... yeah, I like that, actually. It's very weird. Very peculiar. Not typical heraldry, that. Now, this man is not going to be called this. Let's randomize and see if we can find something that's interesting. What on earth was that one I just found? That was ridiculous. Cadog, Arphael, Edwin, Cadwalder, Sinan, Steffan. Could call him Steffan. In fact, actually, we will call him Steffan. There you are. He is Steffan of the... Steffan Lloyd. No. Steffan Lal? Steffan... Pebediog? No. No. Yistrad... Yistrad Clud? No. When I find one that takes my fancy, we'll stick with it. Evans? No. We'll go back to that. Now, the main reason I'm doing it this way is so I can create this character. And let's have him as a different education. These are his education that he grew up with, and I'm going to have him be a naive appeaser. He is a naive appeaser, which increases his diplomacy, but really takes a damp on his martial. There are two traits that I'm going to give him that are really, really going to weigh him down. The first one is the challenging part of this, in that this character is going to be inbred. This poor character suffers from the effects of inbreeding, leading to disfigurement, mental retardation, and probable sterility. We're going to see if, starting on this benchmark, how far we can take a king, potential king, in medieval Europe. And we're also going to make him ugly. This character has a face that brings a tear to the eye. This guy's stats are not very good, but to counteract, that is a minus 80 odd on the potential starting age. Minimum is 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him some different traits that will hopefully balance that out. For instance, we're going to make him kind. And we're going to make him honest. We're also going to make him... let's see, what else can we make him? Humble as well. No, content. There you are. He's also very content, which drastically destroys his intrigue. What else are we going to make him? Humble. There you are. With a humble character, he gains a lot of piety. So he's kind, honest, content, humble. What else could this man be? This man could be many things. Cynical. No, he's trusting. He's a trusting man. He is also... no, we're not going to give him shy. He is also charitable. Temperate? We shall also make him a bit of a poet. We still actually do not have enough positive traits of any variety to counterbalance the fact that of that first trait. So we can actually still pick more. We are still going to pick more. Does temperate work? Yes, temperate does work. So he's also very temperate. Patient? Yep, and patient. Just? Probably not just. Craven brave? Gregarious. There you are. This guy's diplomacy is through the roof, and that's just because he's so nice. Falconer? Hunter? Duelist? Mystic? Gardener. Right, okay, now we're getting to the point where the stats actually make a difference. So we can give him a 5 or a 6, and it wouldn't really hurt him that badly. A 15 makes him 25. So let's make him... No, actually, I'm fine with these traits here. These traits are fine. So despite the problems that have been brought through by his genetics, he is kind, honest, content, humble, trusting, charitable, a poet, temperate, patient, and gregarious. He has a terrible stewardship score, his learning is atrocious, his martial leaves a lot to be desired, and his intrigue leaves even more to be desired. But that diplomacy score, that is 13 diplomacy score. He's not going to start out as married, and I think we are going to go with... Maelor, there you are, of the Maelor Dynasty. So, finish. There he is. King Steffan of Gwynedd of the Maelor Dynasty. He will now be the man that we play in Gwynedd. And let's go. Let's start. I must add before we begin, if you pick any particular point on this, you can separate out between counts, dukes, kings, religion as well, culture. You'll notice that Breton is clinging on in Cornwall there. The game is historically accurate right up until you press the start button. It's not historically accurate right now because we replaced the guy who was meant to be here. But once you press the start button, anything goes. Anything goes at all. The other thing I'm also going to be doing in this playthrough is turning on Iron Man mode. The game data files have been altered in some way, disabling achievements in Iron Man mode. Check so you don't have a mod... Have they? Have they? Probably because I originally changed full screen and not full screen. So we'll just leave that disabled. But anything goes. Like, if I fail an assassination, it stays. If a war goes horribly wrong for King Steffan, it stays. We will be stuck with whatever the game throws at me, and it'll be my job to react to it, and see how far I can take the Maelor family dynasty. Can we reunite Wales and create a Welsh crown? Can we potentially conquer Ireland, or England, or the world? We have a lot working against us, but let's go. We have a lot working against us. We'll let the game load up. And that's the sound of the game loading in. Okay. Until I press and pause the game, everything is accurate with the exception of King Steffan. Poor King Steffan. Fantastic at diplomacy, rubbish at everything else. His heir is my vassal, as I have no dynasty to speak of. Let me explain the interface before we actually go into the game. This is your wealth. We have no monthly balance right now because we haven't started the game. Our starting prestige and how much we're gaining, plus 0.79 a month. Our piety is going to go through the absolute roof because we are humble and content. 0.19 piety a month. That is a lot of piety. Our dements is how many provinces we can rule ourselves without it becoming too cumbersome for our ruler to handle, and thus lead to inefficiency, meaning less taxes collected. That is realm size, and our starting score. Our current protagonist is King Steffan here. If we were to have a son, and King Steffan dies, we immediately then go to our son or daughter, and we carry on from there. Everything is based around this person, and our interactions with them. We are currently Steffan, but when Steffan dies, we become our heir, and all the relationships change, as then we have to look at it as if Steffan was our father, and that his sons are now our brothers, etc., etc. We'll have a look at our council. Our council are going to be the people who are going to help us run on our kingdom. The Chancellor is the man who helps us on diplomacy. We have a so-so Chancellor, but we'll take him. Marshal is the man who deals with things about war. We have a fantastic Marshal. At 17, he is really good. The Steward is a pretty important man as he deals with taxes and administration. We have a competent administrator. I would have preferred to have a higher diplomat, but we'll deal with what we can. Spymaster is also a very important role. He's the man that makes sure that you stab people in the back, and that you don't get stabbed in the back. He's okay. By putting him in command, he gets to 0. Note these numbers. This guy, Pinion of Liege, he was originally fired from the council, the original council, -20. Short Reign, -16. Liege is inbred, -20. That's going to hurt us a lot. Everybody is practically going to think that of me. -20. Gonna see how we can deal with that. And the court chaplain deals with matters of religion. We have a competent court chaplain. I'm going to set these people up into various positions. This man will research the advancement of our military technology in our capital of Gwynedd. This person is going to research our economy tech, also in Gwynedd. This person is just going to build a spy network. No, scheme, actually. There you go. Plot uncovered. You could just get him to study technology. Studying technology right now is probably a good idea. And lastly, research cultural tech. Oh, why can't I have you study tech? Oh, you study technology somewhere else. Ah. No, let's have you scheme for now. The last man is the most important man for our terms of our questing, which is this man, the Chancellor. He can improve diplomatic relations, which means that people won't want to invade us so frequently. He can also sow dissent, which means that people start disliking their lieges. But we're going to fabricate claims, and considering we only have a score of 10, it's going to be challenging. I'm going to fabricate a claim in this territory here. He has a 4.5% chance of doing it every year, and if we have a claim on his territory, a fabricated one at that, we have a right to invade. Because even though it's the medieval era, there are laws that govern almost everything. For being a potentially lawless time, there was so much law you can't even believe. Also, this is only a small fraction of the actual world, and this is the world that we are going to be dealing with. Back in medieval Europe, this pretty much was it. Not many other people cared about what happened beyond this world, and they didn't even know for a fair part that stuff actually existed that way. So, that was a basic setting up of the game, the creation of King Steffan, and the very beginning setup. Next episode, we will be going through some of the more basic mechanics of the game, and actually pressing the play button so that we can carry on. But hopefully, this is going to be, if nothing else, interesting, and an experiment for me on if this person can actually do anything. Minus 30% fertility is a big negative for continuing on a dynasty. So I'm Kikoskia, and this is King Steffan of the family of Maelor. So, I'll catch you then. See you later. Later.